So with the Scarlet and Violet era nearly coming towards an end, we've obviously got Destined Rivals, and I believe Black and White will be a special set. I'm pretty sure it will come under the Scarlet and Violet. It might even start off the Mega era, but regardless, we've got, I'd say, at least 90% of all the sets now. The question is, which ones do you want to go in on? Because there is quite a few that are relatively decent. We'll kind of have a look through some of the cards, have a look through some of the sets, and see which ones are the better investments versus the ones that might take a little bit of time. Now, obviously, if you've looked through sets before, if you've looked, there is that little prismatic in the middle right there, so just take that with what you will. You will eventually see that, more than likely, in 10 to 15, 20 years' time, if Pokemon is still relevant, these will obviously be, well, should be more expensive than what you actually paid for. Now, that is the easiest concept to go with because we have seen it prior to the Scarlet and Violet era. Doesn't mean Pokemon is going to be going for the next 20 years. It doesn't mean that cards are going to be investable really for the next 20 years. The likely chance, very good. That is kind of the longer hold. It's why whenever you kind of look at this low and miss for now, realistically, if I bought a Journey Together box today at 140, 130 MSRP pounds, more than likely in a year's time, in 10 years' time, it would go up. Even if I picked the worst set, which, to be honest, from Scarlet and Violet, I'm quite happy with all of them. But say if I went for the smallest set in terms of size and a special set with no booster boxes and just in general, not as much flair as I'd kind of like. Definitely cards in it. Shrouded Fable. Quite an easy one. I like most of them. Base set maybe, but even then there was quite a lot to go with. Shrouded Fable, even if I bought that, I could only buy an ETB, or say I bought a booster bundle case, £25 per booster bundle, obviously 6 of them in a case. If we bought that at, say, what, 50, 100, £150, give or take, even in 5 to 10 years, the likely chance is that might be up a little bit. Now, the big thing that you've got to remember is you got to find a buyer as well. If I sit on 500 Kingdra EX Shrouded boxes and nobody wants to buy them, I kind of can't sell them. They've got to come down in value. So you've always got to take it with a pinch of salt with products. And I will be discussing that this Sunday. If you want to leave a subscription down below, I'll be going over the products and best investments that you should go with in terms of, if I'm looking at Journey Together, what should I be buying? Single packs, booster boxes, ETBs, blisters, check lane blisters. Which ones are the best for your money in the investments? And looking at the low and high as well. Now, if we're going to start somewhere, let's start with the Scarlet and Violet base. Now, in general, whenever it comes to a normal base card or base set, you tend to find it starts a little bit slow. The era is questionable. We've just come off the back of Crown Zenith. It was always going to be a very, very hard set to follow up from. It'd be like the set coming from 151. You know you're into almost like a gigantic set. You know that that set is doing incredibly well. And in terms of the arts, I mean, they did okay. As a base set comes, it's a solid one. Koraidon, obviously being a fan favorite in there. And then also you've got yourselves a solid amount of kind of art rares coming in. Now, we'll kind of go through a few, which if we're looking at the total of the base, we're looking at 626, which is always interesting. You've got to take a total value to see how, not necessarily how much you should be... Not necessarily how much you should be investing in it, but in general, what is the potential of people collecting this set? Now, obviously, when we look in here, we've obviously got the Drowsy that has been pumped up through the roof. We obviously do have the Gardevoir, and we do have the set of it. And I must admit, I'm a big fan of this. The going from Ralts to Curlier into obviously the ear. It's just a beautiful artwork in general. We did see Miriam kind of being up and down. I love this Riolu. I think it's such a stunning set in terms of the artwork with it. I don't personally know how Slowpoke's this much. It was one of my first cards that I got from him. And it was Koraidon and Miraidon is the two mascots from this set. But then when you go a bit further down, there is obviously still some nice hits. You're obviously looking at a very beautiful-esque artwork for Starly. I don't think that one really gets as much love as possible really. Kind of King Gambit, it's okay, but it's not necessarily my favorite. You've obviously got a very kind of artistic Skwovet going in there as well. There's some absolute keys in here which are just beautiful to see, and as you go further down you can see right from the start the full arts were just not it. They weren't the ones that you wanted to go for. It was all about the illustration arts from this set. Now, if I'm looking at it as a point of view of will it do very well? Well, with Scarlet and Violet, I think it will do okay, but I think it will do better in the long hold, in my opinion. I think right now, if we're looking at it, it's going to be one of them sets that in the future, it will do pretty well. When you look at kind of what we're looking at for booster boxes now, if you bought from the very start, you can see we've got one listing at 188 medium price. We've got one at 300 at the moment, plus 100 shipping, which is just crazy. But realistically, you're looking at 188. That's just purely on the fact there's not many listings. It's going to be harder to get them. You can see them definitely being almost scurried away. You've got a few coming in, as you can see. We've got a lot on specific 25th, unless that's the update day now, just purely for it, but it could be that that's just what they do. They update it on a specific day, but realistically we're looking at the 180 mode. So it's not necessarily gone up crazy. Obviously, if you look at a year graph, we kind of saw it really low to begin with because nobody wanted it. That was the point for most of these sets, is that nobody wanted any of them. And yet, once we now come into a bit of luck with obviously the fact that Prismatic did so well, Journey Together has been fantastic so far in terms of combating that. We'll kind of get into that very soon. But when we do look at the likes of the base set, we then went into a Paldea Evolved that, to be honest, has got some absolute rockers. Obsidian Flames, even so, Charizard couldn't help the kind of downward trend from Sword and Shield into the Scarlet and Violet era. And then, bang, 151 came out. Everybody loved it. It was a beautiful set. Then obviously Paradox Rift kind of was a little bit like, okay, we're back to a little bit of normality. Paldean Fates, another one that I personally am a massive fan on. Love all of the shinies. Temporal Forces was okay. Twilight, absolute hit. Shrouded, little bit underwhelming. Even though I think the set is okay. May not be great, it's okay at best. Stellar Crown did really well. And then we know from Surgeon Sparks and Prismatic. Now, to speed this up a little bit in terms of kind of with the older set, well, with the newer sets, in fact, when we're looking at kind of the likes of Journey Together at the moment, we are in such a interesting part to be in because we're seeing the actual set itself go down massively. Like, in general, we saw Lily's Clefairy now take an absolute nosedive from what we've seen it prior. It was on, like, we're talking first week here. We're looking at, like, 330 all the way up to 400. I saw some sold, now dropping down harder than ever, which is normal. Like, it's not necessarily this is the only set that cards drop. But the rate that it's dropping is absolutely crazy. Like Belly Bolts now, market price is under 100. We've got Zacian coming under 80 now as well. Obviously Salamence at 130. Zorora coming in at 120. And we've got a lot, personally, from when I've seen Facebook groups, eBays, a lot of product being sold as quick as possible. There is a lot of people panicking. You can kind of see where it's going with this if they can't get the instant profits. Prismatic was obviously a crazy set. We'll get onto that. And in terms of an investment, it's going to be very interesting to where your price point is. But Journey Together, I think for me, at this moment, I would say wait. It genuinely could be interesting that we are already getting products coming in that are going to have Journey Together on them as well. Now, obviously, when you do look at the enhanced booster boxes versus the normal as well, again, it's going to be very interesting to see. I don't think you will get them near MSRP as such. I think they could be worth a look in on their lowest points, but you can definitely see a little bit of panic. So I wouldn't necessarily say right now to go out and buy. I think you will still make money on this set. I think it's a great set, but I do think you would be waiting a little bit longer if you're going to buy right now. So I think right this second, I would say wait. I'd put a low on it. I would say not necessarily miss for now, but I think you're going to look at a low side of it until we see where the true lowest point is. I'm going to go over a full video tomorrow with Journey Together. It has been the first week to kind of keep up to date with prices and see where that goes. Obviously, then we look at the likes of a Prismatic. That one's just in general, it depends on how much money you've got, to be honest. That really is where it comes down to, because it is such it's such a big set. It's a massive set. Everything's expensive. Everything's hard to get from shelves. You are not getting this at cheap. So if you're going to invest in a set like this, you are going to invest at the highest possible. So for me, it's very difficult because I'm not paying that much for it. Like if you look at, I think if we go for a normal ETB. We've got ETBs and booster bundles. They're going to be your two products. Realistically, booster bundles would be what you want. You've got an ETB coming in at a market price of 139. That is outrageous. Like even Pokemon Center sometimes are cheaper than that. And yes, we did take a little bit of a dive at the 106 mark, but even then, it was only for a brief, probably week or two, and we're straight back up. So you can kind of see we took a massive hype and then it kind of died down a little bit. And I think, to be honest, all of this I want to say was pre-orders, and I want to say this is like day of release. I'm pretty sure it was released in January. So we got 971 sold, 3,100. It's just absolutely crazy. Looking at them at, literally 130. You're just not going to get in here cheap. I think this is still an incredible set that will make money. I don't think this set is 151. It's a guaranteed profit. No matter what you buy in, the longer you hold, the better you're going to get back returns from this. It's just bound to be. This set is so hard pulled wise. The only thing that you've got to kind of be concerned of is, like myself personally with this sort of set now, is do I just leave the set and just buy the singles every now and then, like the Master Balls, the Pokeballs? At this point, me buying a booster bundle right here, say we can get a market price of $80, which in pounds, what we're looking at about 65, give or take. That is an extra £40 on top of what a normal booster bundle is. Let alone then you throw on the fact that it's a very low pull rate set. I just don't see the point in that. So obviously people will still want this product. I mean, I'll speak for myself only in general. Like maybe we get more reprints of it. I know America's getting it, but whether we're getting it fully global, it could affect the prices. But to be honest, I think with Prismatic, now we know scalpers are not enjoying Journey Together. They're going to be gunning for Destined Rivals to kind of see whether that is possible. I think it will be. And then they will eat up every last 151 Prismatic because it's almost like a no risk kind of guaranteed profit because it's such a demanded set. And obviously for me, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a must because I think there's loads of better options for the price you're paying. If you've got an infinite amount of money, then yes, of course it's going to be a must. I'd say the same for 151. If you've got the money, it's absolutely throw every ounce that you can get at it. Don't go stupid and buy cases for 2, 3, 4 times X the MSRP, but if you can find deals left, right and center, I'd be picking up as much stock as I personally can in terms of an investment portfolio for later on, because this set is bound to do incredible. It's just that is what this set is made for. We then look a bit further back on the 151. Now, obviously, the kind of difference you have, obviously, with the Prismatic versus 151. 151 actually had some pretty good pull rates, to be fair. It's a nostalgic set. Prismatic is the evolutions. It's hard to get, a lot of SARs, and very difficult to find. 151 was affordable. It was affordable for a long time as well. I remember getting product. I got like the very first kind of like ETB. You get a booster bundle. You get a couple of packs here, there, and everywhere. I could still get boxes. I could get the poster box. I could get the booster bundles on just Magic Madhouse for like a couple of months after. Then eventually you kind of saw the kind of the hype catching up. I even got a UPC, in fact, at Christmas. So that came out a lot later. And it still then was there available at a very good price. And it was kind of then for me where the TikTok sort of boomed off a little bit more as that did release. But in general, we can see this set being nice. Obviously, you've got the Charizard as the chase. I think when you look at this nostalgic set in general, it's always going to be fantastic, from the starters to the beautiful birds. I absolutely love that design. Then you've obviously got the Alakazam SAR, and even then you kind of throw down into some of the IRs or the ARs. You kind of see the Pikachu across the road. Not my favorite, personally. I think it's obviously Pikachu, so it's bound to do well, but it's still not necessarily my favorite Pikachu. I quite like the full arts with Charizard, as everybody would. Dragonair is absolutely stunning. Love the Psyduck. It's an absolute beautiful one. I got this one in Japan. Japanese. I don't know where my binder is for it, but this is a beautiful card as well, with all of the colors, the reflection. It's outstanding. There's just a lot of nice hitters in this one, and obviously being the nostalgic 151, the full arts are always going to do a little bit better in comparison to what we saw with the base Scarlet and Violet. You've obviously got the Machoke as well. It is just perfect. It's one of the sets that you could see across TikTok, like even Tangela, the Mr. Mimes playing. I think for me, just being that complete era, like 94, 96, that was my era of cards. Seeing this set now in almost a modern version or a modern twist of what a base set could have looked like 25 years on from now is absolutely brilliant. It's a great set, and again, you're just going to throw the sink at it. I think with 151, you might be able to, in fact, is it cheaper than Prismatic? I don't even know at this point. We've obviously got you've got the Pokemon Center ETB now coming in at a 480 price. Ignore the listing, that's just what's there at the moment. But if we look at, where's the normal ETB? Coming in at 201, so to be fair, it's been out a lot longer, and yet Prismatic is still so much higher. Like, we're looking at 180 for 180 for Prismatic, or no, it was it 130, 140. I mean, this set has been out for so much longer, and yet Prismatic is catching up already. It's either that or 151 is starting to drop a little bit, which it most definitely is not. But like I say, you could literally, like, you can see, even when we look at $80, and I know that sounds ridiculous because that's still 30 to 40 pounds over what an ETB should cost. It's still crazy that you've got, obviously this came out way before then, and yet you've still got it. It doesn't hit the 100 mark until November last year. This set has been out for so long, you could have got the price. So it is interesting to see the difference in a 151. 151 for me is an absolute must wherever you can, but I'm going to go solid chance because you're buying at a high end. It's probably actually closer to the longer hold, because in fact I didn't even see what are the booster bundles coming in at, because they were about 88, was it, for click the shop. They were about 88 for Prismatic. They are coming in at 66. I mean, trying to find them is going to be quite difficult, but that's quite interesting that they are that much cheaper. I mean, how much? Let's have a look what people buying them at. 20. Oh, okay, they're doing the update then. So, wow, bought 30. So I mean, you can find, like, you definitely could find them 69, 54. 59. So I mean, they are technically cheaper than the Prismatic, to be fair. I think to be honest, 151, you're silly if you've got product, if you can buy it and you can find it affordable, it's going to go up. Like, now, no matter the hold, it's bound to. It's one of them sets that does always really, really well. Now, another set that I'm personally a big fan of, Twilight Masquerade. This, again, you've got so many nice cards in this that just works effortlessly. Now, if I can go over to the website for the sets, we can have a look and show you what they're all about, because there is just so much that you can get from this set. Obviously, when you do look at the Greninja, that's going to be the kind of top end of this. You're looking at the total value at about 1.2. We're starting to see an interesting trend with this one starting to get up there as well. Stellar Crown's doing very similar in my opinion as well, but even something like a Temporal Forces isn't a bad shout. Now, the hitters of this card, Greninja, Perrin and the Growlithe together is a great combination. Obviously, Carmine's going to be a fan favorite for all of the anime. Eevee, I mean, it's not necessarily an underrated card, but I think 68, that's going to go up massively. You mean, look at the design. It's outrageous how good that card is. Having the set like that, it is just a perfect recipe of a set. And in general, then you kind of look for a few more of them. You kind of go a bit further down. We love the Growlithe on this one. You've obviously then got the nice Chansey. Not my favorite, but I do like it. It's a good one. It was the first one I've managed to get from this set, I want to say. And then I love the Pinsir. That was another one in the set. There is one that I just think is an absolute sleeper in this. It's got to be more than this. I need to pick it up soon because it's one of them ones that I just feel like it will go crazy when I don't have it. And this is the Infernape. I loved this card. We saw it from, was it Crimson Haze or whatever the Japanese set was? You saw it in the Japanese version first. And I was like, if that comes in English, it is a must to get. It's the full art. I've seen it. I went to buy it. I just had other things that I needed to get first. And it is beautiful. But throwing in all of that together, obviously with Twilight, it's a very interesting set that I think for me right now, I would be saying buy. As when we see the booster box at the moment, we can see it starting to trickle up. Obviously, when you're looking at MSRP, I don't know what it is in dollars, but I mean, in pounds, you're looking anywhere between 120 to maybe 150 at a push. So I believe it's like 160 to 180 in dollars, I want to say. I could be wrong there. But in general, you're looking a little bit over MSRP at the moment. But you've got obviously the sleeve boosters, you've got the box case, you've got the booster box, and then you go further down if you wanted to go for a ETB collection, if you wanted to go for a booster bundle. Obviously, if you are looking at products, the best kind of sets to get if you are looking to invest is going to be a booster box. They are what are wanted all the time. Naturally, of course they are. So if we look at this set in general, we're kind of in that point where we hit a little bit of a spike because Prismatic was just making everything go up. And now we're kind of steadiling off, starting to get a bit more kind of rain on this. You can see we're kind of in a downwards trend at the moment. But I guarantee this one goes up. This one's, for me, is an absolute must everywhere. I would put my bottom dollar on Twilight doing incredible things. It's just one of them sets. I would say, obviously, the promos are in here. I just personally wouldn't necessarily invest too much in promos unless you are going for specific cards, which I personally don't really do. Like, I mean, you can definitely go into certain cards, but just holding the prices and just watching them daily is very stressful. Shrouded Fable then. Now, this set in general is a very, very cheap set. In fact, if I go over to the products first to see how much you could actually get this for, it's going to be an interesting one. So if we go over to Shrouded, it is coming in at 700 still. Wow. What was that? It was a base set that was coming in for that much. Now, obviously, if you take out a few of the hitters, you've obviously got the Houndoom, outrageously good. Persian, love it. You are also maybe going to find a little bit more of a spike at the moment because of the Destined Rivals come out. I know that these are not necessarily Rocket cards, but they follow a theme of obviously Persian being Rocket, obviously then Dusk Noir, Duskull, and also Duskull Ops. It's a great artwork. I think that is a perfect one. I'm not a big fan of the SARs, obviously like Okidogi, all of these. I thought they were okay. Like they work well together, that they are the same artist together. That's nice, but I don't think there's many in this other than maybe like your Zorora, your Horsey. I think Horsey is a stunner. Kufant is another great one. I like the Inquisitor of Beware. I think it's a very ominous sort of card. It's very much perspective based. Tapu Bulu, not really feeling. I love this Okidogi version. Like, this is that could be put into an SAR easily, like very, very easily. So it's interesting to see some of them and think, well, obviously the SARs are meant to be the number one, and yet you kind of look at the illustration rares for them. They kind of take the lead, in my opinion, in a lot of cases, to be fair. So it is one of them sets that I think once you've gone past the megas, you're going to look quite cheap. Like, we think most of this top row are coming in at around about 40 to 50. So if you go like 40, say you go 50, 100, 150, 200, say we say 250 for the lot, might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. That takes your value down then pretty much nearly halfway. Then you throw in a few of the gold cards coming in at 30. It's a very like top 10 heavy set. Other than that, like you go 5-6 rows down, you're looking at $10 a piece and lower. So it is quite easy. It's a very small set in general, so I'm surprised that it is that much in general as well. But if I was to go and say you need to invest in this one, I think for me, it's going to be a long hold. It's not necessarily going to be quick. You look at the prices in general right now. We know that you can't obviously get any booster boxes for this one, so it's going to be mainly around your ETBs, your tins, your booster bundles, maybe even your Greninja boxes. I think Greninja in general is just purely on the promo card as well. That is a stunner of a promo if you're looking for it. So if we're looking for the Shrouded Fable booster bundle, this is obviously going to have the packs in there. You've got 6 packs. It's still coming in pretty cheap. Like in general, you're looking at 36. We go for the whole year graph. We took a massive nosedive, and you can see as the time's going on, it's getting there. It's not necessarily going to be an absolute crazy to the wall. It's going to be 5x within a year or two. It's going to be a long hold in my opinion. So I think I'd put this kind of around base, like maybe in terms of a profit coming back, I would say it might be low. Journey Together might be a longer hold then. Let's get rid of that 7. But it could be low in terms of what you get back because realistically you need to find buyers for it. Whereas I think with Scarlet and Violet, it's going to be longer hold, but I do think the profits are going to be worth it. Same as Journey Together, whereas Shrouded, it's going to be one of them ones for me that is very low, but the profits might not be as good as kind of what you fancied in the real build up to it. Which then moves me on to one of my favourite sets that hopefully they do continue with in Paldean Fates. This is a lovely set. Very, very hard to collect. It's got so much value in it. We're looking at 1,500. The Bubble Mew is popping off. You've got the Charizard EX, the Guadavir EX, and the Shiny set. Now, I think personally for me, if they were to ever make a illustration rare shiny set, so maybe like they have just this as the card like the whole way full art, I would pay whatever the odds are, because genuinely you will find a lot of them cheaper, like, but you've got a shiny set. Imagine having all of the shiny sets. You've got obviously shiny Hidden Fates, shining, what is it? No, you got not Brilliant Stars. Let's go through the sets. I can't remember what it is. It's oh, I love these sets as well. You've got, where is it? Is it Brilliant Stars? I thought it was a different one. Shining Fates. I knew I got it right, Starve. Shining Fates, Paldean Fates. You've got Hidden... Is it this one? Or Shining Legends? No, is it... What is this? I see, I didn't really do Sun and Moon. Is it Shining Legends or is it a bit further down? Was it Shining Legends? Let's have a look. I don't think it was this one. What one was it for Sun and Moon? It's going to pop out. It's not Hidden Legends. It's Lost Thunder, Dragon Majesty, Ultra Prism... Oh, of course it's Hidden Fates. I was like, it's got to be Hidden Fates because I definitely didn't open X and Y packs. X and Y, they didn't have one, did they? They started with Hidden Fates. Or Fates Collide. No, I'm pretty sure they started that with Hidden Fates. I could be wrong, let me know in the comments, but I didn't really open up much of X and Y. Like, it was, I looked at a bit of Evolutions, but obviously the Hidden Fates was the kind of the first one that I remember. Obviously coming in with a lot of these shiny versions or shiny variants with the Charizard, now the Umbreon, Jesse and James, which is going to be massively in price because of everything else. But even the Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, you've got the Rainbow version, and also then the shiny set as well. So an incredible value, which you could see, to be honest, you could probably get as well. But just in general, having them sets together, I'm a big fan of. Like I say, the set is massive. It's 326 total cards. Obviously, secrets, normal cards, everything is going to be very expensive to get. Now, I do think it's always nice to actually try and pack these as well, like, because you've got such a big set pool to kind of go from. It's interesting that you find that a lot more people will buy this set rather than necessarily buy just all of the individuals, because you could hit a Bubble Mew. Loads and loads of people always kind of invest and try and hit into this one more so than anything. When we look at the prices then, you've obviously got ETBs, you've got tins, you've got booster bundles, loads of tins, absolutely loads. Because it is kind of a special set, there's no booster box. It's a bit unfortunate, but you have got a lot of products that they have brought out. From obviously all of the premium collection cases to then the kind of almost the premium tins as well. There's so much that you can get for this set. Now, obviously the booster bundle is going to be the most efficient product that you can buy for this, and I believe that is coming in. If I can find it, or did it have tins? Where is it? I can't remember if they did. Yeah, they do have the, that's the display bundle. Where is the individual? We are looking at $62 for 6 packs. So realistically, if you're doing the maths on that, you're obviously going for what, an average price of 62. Then obviously divided by 6, you're coming in around about $10 per pack. So around about £9 per pack, give or take. I think it's worth it in general. Like, you're obviously trying for the Bubble Mew. That had a massive glow up. It's a very interesting one to try and open up because the rates are always nice on what you can actually get. So it will be one of them ones I think is a solid chance. I don't know if I'd quite go a say must for the pricing that you're already paying, but I do think you've got a very good chance of that doing well, as long as the kind of 2 top ones in Charizard and also Bubble Mew are doing well as well. But it does have these it's a very big set to fall back on, which is what we kind of like. Then obviously Surgeon Sparks. Now this is always an interesting one because it's in that hype period. It's one of them sets that everybody's kind of got a bit off. Everyone's already kind of dipped their toes into a bit of Surgeon Sparks. Now, in terms of the set price, we're looking at about 1.6, so one of the most expensive. Like, if we was to compare that to, say, a Prismatic, because we know that is a big set, that's coming in at 8 grand. Oh my. Wow. Journey Together, just to kind of give a comparison, is about 1.1, and that's with prices falling. If we look at like a Stellar Crown, we're looking at 500 now. That is cheap as chips. And then if we look at 151, because it's quite there, 1.3. So we're looking at maybe the second most expensive set realistically. What do we say for, what's Temporal Force if it has like 1.2? Oh, just under £1,000 now. Nice. Okay. So yeah, I think we're looking at about second set in terms of what we're going for price. Now, obviously, a lot of that is dictated by the top three: 410, 207, and 135 in Pikachu, Latias, and Milotic. Now, if you've managed to get any of them, it's still expensive to get the rest. Like, we're looking at the Gold Pikachu at 90. We've obviously got Hydrogen, SAR, and Executor as 78 and 59. Let alone then the amount of AR illustration rares that are absolutely solid. You can see some of them coming in, which are a very nice design. If you're looking for a very artistic design, the Vivillon has got some beautiful colours in it. Larvesta, nice and kind of snug in that sort of area, as well as even, I must admit, the Flygon line does work pretty well as well. I really like the Stunfisk. I don't think it's going to be a next world beater, but it's nice enough. Like, you can kind of go with it. And one thing you can tell from this set is Durant is just not wanted at all. It's one of them. The full arts and even the rainbows are only okay unless it is a specific Pokemon. Then it was to kind of go up a little bit more. I think after that, everything else is pretty rated well, to be honest. There's not necessarily, like, even the Execute, it's nice. Even the Appleton, it's a nice card, but it's not necessarily crazy. The Bravery, it's a nice one. Kecleon's good. I like the Sphere, but even then, that one's slowly going up. Dugtrio's nice, but it's okay at best. Feebas is lovely. The Skarmory, I thought I would like more. I think it's okay. I do like the Slack Off, I must admit. I think everybody's going to like that Slack Off. It's a very unique card design. It does picture Slack Off very, very well. So in general, it's a good set. Now, when it comes to the pricing of boxing, that's the hard point, because it's the same as kind of going into your Prismatic, going into your Journey Together. We are in such a hype market with it. Where you come in is always going to be so much more expensive than what you naturally would at the start. Now, you definitely, for the first month for this set being out, you could have got product 100%. Like we can see here, like we got it on September. I got my first booster box at the very, very start as a pre-order. Got an ETB with it as well. They were the kind of my first two purchases. For then Christmas, I got another booster box and then another ETB just as a leading up to there. It was still that same sort of price. And even then, like we look at kind of the new year, it then took kind of a bit of focus away and started to really get up there as we knew Prismatic was around the corner. Everybody started ramping up on Surgeon Sparks in the anticipation that we was not going to be able to get Prismatic. And I think myself included, I've opened up a lot of Surgeon Sparks purely on the fact that I could find that, could not find Prismatic. And it was kind of that, oh, well, this is still new-ish. I'm going to just keep going with that until I can get another Prismatic kind of booster bundle when that comes out on launch. So it was almost like a full man for it, but it's still done well in price. Now, I do think this set will do well still. I think the Pikachu is a lovely artwork. I don't know whether it stays at 400. I mean, it's done well so far. It's kind of like, as you see, it's kind of on a downwards trajectory, which, to be fair though, it did come in at nearly $500. It's not a $500 card. Maybe in 10 years it might be 100%. It's an iconic card. It's the rainbow. It's Pikachu. It's a fan favorite. I'm not a fan of terrestrial kind of versions. It doesn't really do anything for me. But the card itself is an absolute stunner, naturally. But I do think it's an interesting one to see how well is that going to plateau. Like, are we just going to see a bit of a kind of a downwards turn now? Or is it going to plateau just even a little bit? When you look at sales, you've kind of got a few near mints. You've obviously got white edges, so hence why it's a little bit less. But you've got 380, 350 with light play. it's going to be interesting to see where this card does go in like a month, 2 months, even 6 months down the line, because that will be the big question of where this set goes. Now, it has got a lot of backup with Latios, which is an incredible card. Again, whether it's worth 200 on the dot, I don't know. Milotic's probably one of my favourite ones from this set in terms of how the artwork looks. And kind of then from there, it's just fan favourites, really. Like, even the Latios is a stunner. Like, that and that together is a lovely combination pair. So, it's got a bit of legs to go with. If I was looking at Surging Sparks, for me, if I'm buying at the prices right now, I'd be looking at a longer hold, because I don't see it jumping up. Like, it's definitely not going to hit 350, 400 anytime soon. Like, it's not going to be months away. It is going to be at least a year or two away, unless the hype goes absolutely nuts, which that then is not necessarily investment. It's just you've managed to get in on a very good time in general, and sold on a good time as well. Which kind of leads us with a lot more of these sets that we are looking at that are kind of now considered, other than maybe Stellar Crown, I feel like that was kind of coming out of the rated category. We're looking at sets that nobody wanted. And now it's hilarious to see the difference in these sets. And it was kind of just to run through them all at once. So if it was to look, for instance, at the sets to start with, so we'll go with the earliest first, which is obviously going to be Paldea Evolved. I've recently moved my binders over, and I didn't realise truly how big some of these sets truly are. Like, they are absolutely gigantic. You got 455 total cards on this one. Obviously, Magikarp's going to come in as the number one. You got the Raichu. That is that is a £100 card easily in terms of what we're seeing. What's priced? That Raichu is an absolute sleeper giant. You got it coming in at 1.2 as the total set. We then have a few more, obviously, with Fuecoco. I like that evolution line, how it kind of works out, in my opinion. I think it works really nicely. You've obviously got the Sudowoodo kind of acting as a tree. I think that is a stunner. If you've ever played the games, you know that that's just brilliant. Even the Mismagius, to be honest, it's a very cool design. I like funky looking different cards. You've obviously got Sprigato is going to be one of them cute binders. It works in the colours, whereas you kind of got the more abstract Baxlibar, or however you pronounce it, but it's more the abstract version. Not necessarily my favourite, but I could see why a lot of people would like it. You then obviously got Chin Pao, and then as you go a bit further down, looking at a few more of kind of like the easier ones on the eyes, you kind of go in a bit further down with maybe a little bit of a Quaxley. I think that's quite nice for the price. Then Rookidee, it's just a great card. It's going to be Corviknight, and all of them are going to be absolute hitters in the future. You just know it. Sandygast, I like. As then you go a bit further down, I believe there was one more that I saw, because there's a lot of full arts which you always get in these sets. It might have been that one. It might have been the... Which one? Or it might be a different... It might be Temporal Forces, actually. Is it Temporal? No, because I'm on Paldea. It might be Temporal that I'm thinking of. There was another one that I kind of like at the lower end. The Wooper kind of has that same effect of the Slack Off, to be fair. But in general, that set for me is quite a nice one. Then we look at the next one going into Obsidian. Now, obviously, this is a Charizard heavy. The Ninetales, mwah, beautiful. Pidgeot, love it. It's different. The Cleffa, stunning, absolutely stunning. I like the Gloom. I think it's different, obviously having the Weedling. You're always nice to have different Pokemon within themselves. The Houndour, a stunner of a card. Scizor is a big fan. Not necessarily the best Scizor I found, but most definitely a nice one. Obviously then you do have the Pidgeotto, and then I think you've got the Pidgey somewhere. Is it a bit further down? Oh no, we already passed it, didn't we? Because that's one of the kind of higher ones. I like that they've obviously gone for that sort of kind of design. It would have been really nice to maybe gone something like the Pidgey on another one instead. Like, instead of it kind of being on its own. I know it's got the 0104, but it would have been nice to maybe kind of, like we saw with the Rolts, go across a little bit more. Obviously then we've got the Lechonk, stunner obviously. Bellibolt is brilliant. I love Bellibolt. He's got some lovely cards. Even Reveroom. Some of the designs are genuinely just so unmatched that you just got to look at them and think that they are absolutely brilliant. Some of them are. The full arts and the illustration arts are what have really kind of turned that Pokemon up that next level, really, in my opinion. But we are looking at a total value of 334, which doesn't seem right. But I suppose it kind of is, because when you look at these prices, that they are cheap. They're very, very cheap. Like when you're looking at $5 per card here, it's mainly that big Charizard at 65. I think I've got this one, and this one was like crazy to start with. But really, other than that big one at 65, you've taken out literally everything. So I could kind of see where this comes from with Obsidian, that it's not necessarily the massive sought after Charizard, and because it was a lot of the kind of terrestrial mega shiny version, it isn't the raw Charizard that we like to see, and I think that will definitely change during the mega sets. I think Charizard will come back swinging. Paradox Rift obviously is going to be another one that's going to be a Groudon. The set's coming in at a grand. Another set that I think is very underrated in terms of what pulls we've got, the Pulsel and Minun. Stunning. Love the Goldango. Obviously, this was one of the first ones we saw him in terms of a special illustration rare. I was trying to figure the word then. Steelix, I quite like. I would really like a nice illustration Onix, whether there is a queue for them. I wasn't necessarily a fan of Iron Valiant. I think I found that with a lot of like your Roaring Moons, your Iron Crown, your Iron Valiant. They're just not hitting. It's almost like the Pokemon themselves, if you've got a Gallade there instead, or a Guadavir, and you've got Tyranitar in the background, I think that card does like tenfold. Whereas because it is Iron Valiant, it's only okay. Groudon's a stunner. I think that's bound to be an expensive card in the future. If only this set had a Kyogre with it as well, if you kind of had them two, that would have been an absolute stunner of a set to have. Obviously, then you go a bit further down. I think Magby is an absolute killer there. Still at 16, so I think when you look at it, it's going to be nice anyway. Snorunt's obviously there. We go a bit further down, and you kind of find a few of the lower ones. I'm thinking... quite like Wimpod, but you've also got to think that's a great card. Sizelazar that's a brilliant design. It's something different. Throws it in there. Obviously, then you have got Ferrothorn. I quite like that one, to be fair. And you kind of look through the set and see what are the hitters really like. Even the full arts. Like if you had a whole set of these, if you could make a Pokedex out of the full arts, it would be interesting as a set piece. Maybe not necessarily what they've intentionally made it for. We then have Temporal Forces coming in at just shy of a grand. Like I say with these, like they are still expensive, but I think if these were their original forms, they would be more. Like Raging Bolt, Walking Wake, and Gouging Fire, they're okay. Like I say with the Iron Crown, Nine Leaves, like I reckon if they were the originals, they probably do better, in my opinion. I like, obviously, you've got the Gengar that's holding up the price on this one. Mortis Conviction. You know Gengar's pulling all of that weight there. And then kind of you look at your Ghastly. I mean, it's 45, but it should be top of the set. That is a... If you wanted to collect all of them in terms of the evolution, you've got them all there. You've even got a cheeky Meowth going in as well. So I think that is one of my favourite cards from any illustration rares. It's an absolute beaut. Obviously, if you know me, Metagross I'm a big fan of. Love him in the snow. Swazbuck, beautiful. Then obviously you got your Gengar full art. It's funny how a lot of the full arts, if they're not necessarily a crazy card, they do low, but Gengar's still up there. And also you do have Deerling that does match with the cards if you are looking for a match one. Litten, stunner, absolutely love it. Then you've obviously got Minccino and Chinchino that do link as well together. You've got a very derpy Drampa. That's going to be more of your alternative card in my opinion. And then as you go further down, we kind of look at the Chatot, the Relicanth are quite nice. But in terms of a set, it's got a solid amount of artwork in it. So it's another one of the sets that I think if you are appreciating artwork, it works well. And the final one when it comes to what we're looking at for the cards, we are seeing a bit of Stellar Crown. Now, funny with Stellar Crown that Terrapagos was obviously the chase card. It was the special illustration rare of the set that everybody wanted. And then Bulbasaur and Squirtle took over. And to be honest, I don't think it'll be long before Bulbasaur takes over. And they are both illustration rares. So they are not necessarily even the hardest hitting cards to get, which is just crazy in themselves. But you do look at the card and think, well, actually, it's a pretty nice card. Like, them two together are absolutely adorable. It's beautiful to have both of them. I like the Terrapagos. I think they're forcing him a little bit too much recently. And again, the Terrestrials, it's not everybody's cup of tea. So it isn't going to do absolutely crazy. Like Hydra Apple, it's nice, but it's not necessarily crazy. I quite like the alternative, like the Gulpin. It's a stunner of a card. It's something different. It's colourful. It's an absolute beaut. Rabot, or Rabu, beautiful. Metatype, love it. And then you kind of go a bit further down, you kind of see a few more kind of extra EXs. There's nothing really too far after this. Earthworm is obviously going to be one of them ones, but in terms of a set, it's cheap for now. The Bulbasaur Squirtle will more than likely get more expensive. Maybe we see the Terrapagos hit a bit more of a value going up there as well. And when we are looking at kind of pricing for these boxes, it is always interesting to see what we're actually going with here, because obviously when you do look at these sets, it's always an interesting point of view because they are coming in cheaper than what you'd expect to start with. Like if we go for Stellar Crown, the kind of newest one out of these sets, we'll go with this one first and then kind of backdate to Paldea Evolved. You're obviously looking at the booster box now at 204. We saw it kind of, it's taking its upwards turn at the moment. Obviously, it was at the floor. All of these, you'll find, were at the floor at some point. Booster boxes were available for like £80 to £90 for about 2 to 3 months. You could have snapped up every single one, and already, like Stellar Crown was literally at the bottom. It was here, and you've kind of doubled your money in the space of like half a year. You cannot do that anywhere else. You also would have had to have kind of gauged in September, November time, we was getting one of the biggest prismatic sets going. Now, we might have had information, but to know that the hype would have been this level, I think you'd have kind of maybe picked up around here. Like, this is where you'd have probably been looking to make a move. So you'd still have probably made a solid amount if you sold out straight away, but you kind of had to make that move early as such. Now, do I think right now is a move for Stella? I think yes. I think in terms of what you're looking at, I would say this is kind of your must set, really. In terms of Twilight Stellar Crown, I think the Bulbasaur and Squirtle is going to do a lot of carrying, and I do think there is a lot of cards as well in that set that do pretty well as well. Obsidian Flames, like we saw, we kind of go through the booster boxes of them. We can see, we go Pokemon, I wonder if I can go booster boxes and see if I can just see them all in one. The problem is it's going to just bring up everything, isn't it? Because we've got the booster box case. If we go by... Can we go by sets? Let's add them all in. So if we are looking at some of the booster boxes now, obviously if you are looking at... If we go high to low, let's go to the low side of it. You've obviously got ATBs, a lot of product across the board with most of them. Most of them will be out of stock as well. Obviously all of them are standard sets. So we've obviously got the Obsidian Flames coming in at 214. We then have the booster box of everything else. Temporal Forces, that's a case. Where's the rest of them? They need to give me all of them, unless they're just not here because of how are they typing them. That's the question. Let's go. In fact, if I go off this, oh, I can include product type, can't I? Sealed products. And then if I go away from this and just enter there, if I add the sets in now instead. So then we add in here and we go product type, we go sealed products, and then we look at high to low. This should now give me everything that I need. So hopefully we can see Obsidian Flames at 214. We got Paldea Evolved at 227. We have 194 for Temporal Forces and 190 for Paradox Rift. Personally, for me, if I was looking at all of these sets, I think Paldea Evolved with obviously the Magikarp will do the best at this point. Obsidian Flames I could see actually being a relatively hard set to compete with, to be honest. I think when we look at what's in it, it's a very low value set. Like, if you think of the value of the set in general, it's not much more than 2 to 3 booster boxes, which is scary to think that that is how cheap it is. Like, literally 214, if you was to get 3 of these, you'd be over the set limit. And the question is, would you get that much back from it? You've got to get that Charizard to make any sort of profit in these boxes. So in 36 packs, you need the Charizard. I would be very interested to see how that goes in a few years. I think for me, the Obsidian would be a very, very longer hold. I do think it will still do well with the Charizards in there, but it will be a few years. It could be even a low potential, but I would say it would be more of a longer hold at the moment. I would put money on Paldea Evolved. I think that one will do very well. When it comes to the other two, Personally, for me, when looking at them, I think you've obviously got a solid amount in both of them. Paradox Rift, obviously coming in with their beautiful Groudon, but it's kind of spaced across. Like, we're looking at, what, 1,000 on the value. I think there'd be a solid chance with it. Whereas Temporal Forces, it's an interesting one with, obviously, the changes. If we can get past gatekeeping your Raikou, your Suicune, your Entei, and accept the Gouging Fire, then I think they could do even better. I personally would say that's going to be more of a solid shout as well. So I am very interested to know what you think about all this. Hopefully this has been informational for you. Let me know down below what you think. Obviously, if we do get Black and White added to this, and then obviously Destined Rivals in the future, I think they are going to be, again, more of a longer hold low, because it depends where you can get in. If you get in at an MSRP, buy the lot. Buy the lot and its shed that it comes with it, because it's going to be worth double already, especially Destined Rivals. When we see Glory of Team Rocket, it's going to be nuts. But let me know your thoughts. I know it's been a longer video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Peace.